Hello, welcome to Solo Strategic Playthroughs. My name is Jeff, and today I am heading back to Middle-earth to go ahead and try a series of scenarios that I have not played in a very long time, never finished them all. I was kind of where at some point back in my history of Lord of the Rings, I was playing through the Dream Chaser cycle with Greyhaven, never quite got to the end, so I'm going to be starting that. I've already done a video on the deck I'm going to be using, and I've already made adjustments to it. But you can certainly check that video out first if you haven't already, or you can just jump right in. I'll be explaining everything as I go. If you're new to the channel, well, I'm going to be doing a playthrough. I'm going to be talking through my strategy. Not going to teach the rules, but I will certainly explain plenty as we go along. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be playing the Dream Chaser cycle. I'm going to modify the campaign rules slightly because normal campaign rules, you're really meant to play with the same heroes throughout. You have to take a threat penalty if you want to introduce new heroes. And while that is certainly fun, I really want to try out all of the different heroes from the Dream Chaser cycle, try different decks as I go through these 9 scenarios. So I'll probably be ignoring the threat bump rule. Now, what I will have to figure out is how I want to deal with lost heroes, because there is a good chance that one of my heroes may be fallen. That said, I did put a single copy of Houses of Healing in my deck, so that potentially, if I can slow play the end, potentially I can get my hero back into play. The other thing is, although I do not own the revised campaign box, I've made proxies for all the cards, including some of the ones you see here. So I will be playing with the whole campaign rules and, again, explaining that as we go along. But even before that, let's talk about the story. So we are hanging out at the Grey Havens. Cirdan, our lovely host, and somehow a hobbit, Folco Boffin, has made his way and he's got a little Tookish blood in him, ended up traveling farther west than he expected, ended up at the Grey Havens when word came from a Lord Calphon from Dol Amroth that he is trying to find the legendary Isle of Numenor, which is said to have sunk to the bottom of the sea. However, he believes he's located... the tip is still above land, or still above the water level. So he wants to go on an expedition. He's brought a fleet of ships. Cirdan the Shipwright has also put together some of his fleet, and we are going to go on an adventure. And Folco will join along with Galdor of the Havens, and Cirdan does not want to sit this one out, so he's going to be going as well. And we are departing from the bay. And before we even get into the campaign setup, the very first step is to choose the heroes, as we had done here, and just quickly looking at them. The main impetus with this deck is Cirdan, trying to get as many attachments as I can on him, make him a willpower questing machine, also able to aid others, looking for ways to mitigate the fact that he gets to draw extra cards but has to discard. Want to try and find... I've actually now got 3 copies of Silver Harp in my deck because I've realized it is that useful. That's the one that lets you keep a discarded card. Galdor, who's got the ability to kind of let you get a good look at your first hand, and then has that emergency drawback up later in the game. And Folco Boffin, who is there because I do have a couple of copies of Strider in my deck. That's a card that excels with just 2 heroes, and so along with some secrecy, so I've got him there. I can easily discard him to get -7 threat. He himself gives himself -1, so I start at 27 instead of 28 threat. I should probably correct that number there. So yeah, I'm actually at 27 threat once he comes into play, and I can kind of play things by ear whether or not I want to keep him around or discard him. Now, with campaign mode, the one other part of setup I would do now is any boons I have that go in my player deck, I would shuffle those in or attach them to characters. Any burdens I have would go in the encounter deck. And so we'll get to that in a moment. I technically don't have any yet. So before I do anything else, I do draw my initial 6 cards. So here we go. We have Glorfindel, very good ally, another good ally, my replacement hero, if need be. Another big ally, which could be really good. I could actually get him into turn 1 potentially. All right, so good for dealing with locations. I like being able to get this card into the discard. I've got 3 copies, and each one gets better if you have copies in the discard pile. So, of course, he's good in the discard pile because then you can just play him from the discard pile. But where are my attachments? We've got a Linden Navigator, and by the way, this is my... I talked about playthroughs and kind of sampling things out and the process I go through in my deck building. I got quite the playthrough with this because I actually started recording the video, I was playing, and I realized, I don't know, like turn 11, that I was playing these guys wrong. I forgot about the restriction that if you quest with them, you have to discard a card to keep them around. So... decided to just start over. I will play it correctly this time. Still going to keep 3 in my deck, as I still think they are quite useful. Last but not least, there is Narya, a very good attachment for him. But now, okay, so this is where Galdor's ability comes into play, where instead of taking the standard mulligan, which I would do because I didn't get any cheap cost cards in here, I can instead discard cards, choose what I want to keep, and then draw back up to 6. But there are a couple of factors informing my decision here in terms of what I keep and what I don't. But the main thing is I want to try and get cards that let me quest without exhausting. I want to, if I can, get copies of Resourceful so I can increase my production. Silver Harp is another key card. The sooner I can get it. There are a lot of cards that really let me take off on turn 1. Other than this one, none of the rest are in my hand. So I am actually going to discard all 5. I have extra copies of all of these cards in my deck, and of course I want him in my discard pile so I can play him from there. So I'm going to discard 5, and drawing back up to 6, there we have a Hasty Stroke, some threat reduction, and the willpower bonus can be useful. A nice large ally that, well, we'll have to see when I can get him into play. Unexpected Courage is good. And last but not least, all right, another copy of this to deal with locations. That could actually be pretty useful for right from the start of the quest. All right, still not an ideal starting hand, but you work with what you get. So there we go. That is my starting suite. Now I can go ahead and do the encounter and campaign setup. All right, so stage 1 of the quest, Departure from the Havens. First thing I have to do is I've set up the Corsair deck, which has all of the non-ship enemies. They're in their own separate deck, one of the new mechanics from this cycle, which I'll explain as I get into. Then I'm going to have to search the deck, which I've already done, for a couple of cards that are going to start in play, and we'll take a look at those in a moment. I also have to prepare my fleet. So with the revised campaign extension, there's 2 additional ships, so there's actually 6 you can choose from. Each player chooses one of which has to be the Dream Chaser. But if you are a solo player, like I'm playing now, just playing one hand, then you get to choose an additional ship. All right, and here are my starting ships. Again, Dream Chaser. Have to take the Duskbringer was the one I chose. This is one of the new ones in the campaign expansion. Yeah, especially if I'm potentially going to heroes at some point, that's really good extra resource generation, which I have a lot of. I think I have 28 odd cards in my deck, 21 that only cost 1, so odd that I only drew 1 of them in my opening draw, going through 11 cards, but I still get to draw 2 more cards before my first turn. Also, this ship well set up for attacking, kind of some balance. I've got the Dream Chaser can defend, the Duskbringer can attack. As with the ships I'm going to have to face, you can only defend ships with another ship. However, your characters can attack the ships, so that's something to keep in mind. We'll certainly need to do that. You don't want to let ships linger. These can take a limited amount of damage as printed on them, and if either of your ships sinks, that is a failure. Now, campaign setup, you can see here, since I'm playing campaign, there are some additional rules. I'm going to be taking modifications, 1 for each of my ships, so I'll show you that in a sec, which ones I've chosen. There's 4 different ones to choose from. The basic version pretty much just upgrades one of the stats, but they start to get interesting when you upgrade them, and that is a special thing with this campaign where you can see from the other side of the card, there's a whole bunch of different ways I can earn XP. Then I can spend XP in between scenarios to upgrade some of my cards. My ship upgrades, potentially my ships, player cards that I might receive as boons, all sorts of fun stuff. So kind of along with me trying to complete this scenario, I'm going to try and earn as much XP as possible. The other thing this lets me do is I can put 2 damage on a ship, and I can do it with each ship to give a hero an extra resource. So that being the case, since I know I've got this guy in my hand and I want to get him into play, really useful if I can get him out in turn 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Hopefully not regret it. I'm going to put 2 damage here and 2 damage on this guy to give both of my lore heroes 1 extra resource. And then, of course, they'll each produce a resource, which will allow me to get this guy into play turn 1. Okay, so let me just show you the ship modifications. Very simple. The Dream Chaser is going to get armor plating, so a little bit better defense, and a ballista for the Dusk Rider, which will then have better attack. Now, setup is nearly done. We'll, of course, flip this over to side 1B. Actually, the other thing it makes me do is I have to prepare the quest deck. So there's a whole bunch of stage 2s and a stage 3. Sailing is a mechanic that's unique to the Dream Chaser cycle, so we'll get into that. Ideally, you'd skip some of these 2As and race through, but I did see that I can gain an XP if I deal with all 4, so that's something I'll keep into account. I've got that ready to go, set aside, and then last but not least, before we start the game proper, I'll take a look at these 2 cards. Right off the bat, I'm going to have to deal with the Rolling Seas, which is an annoying location, especially in tandem with the scouting ship, since the scouting ship doesn't engage until 35, but if your sailing doesn't go great, or if you travel to that Rolling Seas location, then it will engage you, unless you can get your threat below 20, which I actually can. So that's actually an interesting consideration to make. I'm not going to be making that decision turn 1 anyway. What I am going to be doing is having to deal with these. And the ships, they're interesting. They've got the boarding mechanic. So when you engage the ship, you're going to be taking whatever the boarding amount is, that many enemies off of the Corsair deck. Then you have to deal with them. Some pretty difficult stuff. But hopefully we are up to the challenge. But let's jump into it. Turn 1, starting with the resource phase. A lore resource for each of them, and a resource for Cirdan. And then with Cirdan's special ability, I'm going to draw 2 cards, keep 1, discard the other. So either another Hasty Stroke or Strider. So cheap, unique attachment. First ability is if you have 2 or fewer heroes, then you don't have to exhaust a quest. That's nice. Not so important right now, since I'm probably not going to be engaging anything. Not like I'm wanting to do multiple things with them. Definitely handy later. Definitely a reason to maybe jettison Folco Boffin. Then the other one, which again, not relying on a number of heroes, is when you have 5 or fewer characters plus 2 willpower. Well, certainly have that right now, so that is really useful. Now for card play, well, we certainly have an interesting collection of characters on this ship, including Haleth, the Woodsman Scout. Why is he here? Maybe he came with Folco Boffin. Whatever the reason, there are a lot of attachments in my deck, so should be able to make that hit just about every time. It's basically an extra card every turn. Then with my last resource, I'm going to go ahead and play Strider, and I guess for now I will put it on Cirdan and give him the bump, so he's now got 6 willpower. There's definitely use in dividing it up. But yeah, I'll go with that. There's a good chance, there's with Corsairs that come out of the deck and make you discard attachments, there's a good chance I'm going to lose it. So now I did play an odd card, so from here I do get a resource back. I can put out in any one of my heroes. I'm going to put it back on Cirdan. That way potentially I have the resources to play Unexpected Courage next turn. Although we will see how things go. That's going to do it for the preparation phase. Before questing, I actually have to go sailing. And the way the sailing mechanic works is very simple. You just commit characters or ships to a sailing test. Even before that, we are getting some bad weather or bad conditions. We are slightly off course. In order to get back off course, we are going to be drawing cards from the encounter deck, looking for the ship wheel symbol that you see here. So a little bit less than half of the cards in the encounter deck have that symbol. And it's one of the things, playing very strategically, I am going to keep track of as I go forward. Whenever I'm doing sailing tests, I can take a look at cards in play, discard pile, and know kind of how my odds are looking. I definitely do not want to go off course right away and potentially have to deal with this off the bat. I'd like to build things up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to commit that ship because it counts as 2 characters. Normally only the first player can commit to a sailing test. The Dream Chaser can always commit, regardless of first or other player. Of course, I'm a solo player. I'm always first player, so that restriction doesn't really matter. I think Folco Boffin will also help with the moorings. So I've got 3 people committed. I just need 1 success to get myself back in line. So back on course, that is a no. That's 2 and a 1. So good enough. We are back on course. Don't have to worry about having to deal with that just yet. And now I can decide who I want to commit to the quest. Obviously going to be him for 6. And honestly, obviously going to be him too. I'm not planning on facing anything. I've got Hasty Stroke if a surprise comes up and I need to deal with an attack. But otherwise, I'm just going to send everybody. So right now, it's going to be 3, 5, 11, 13 versus the 7 in the staging area. And let's see. All right, it is an event. A treachery, I should say, which fortunately is fine by me. This only affects you if you're off course. I am not. So that could just be discarded for no effect. And boy, that went quickly because actually, because I am on course, just an effect of the quest card, I actually get +2 to each ship's willpower. So 5, 7, 13, 15 versus 6 is 9 progress, which is going to be enough to complete the first stage of the quest. But even before I do that, I have quested successfully, so now I get to use his ability, look at the top 5 cards, go fishing for an attachment. Okay. Well, there's another copy of Strider, but I think I'm going to go for the Almanac, which is going to help me deal with locations, and the rest will get shuffled back into my deck. Now, having completed the quest stage, and since I'm on course, I do get to look at the top 2 cards, choose which one I want to do, either Cursed Mists or Into the Storm. Into the Storm is going to bring a water spout into play, which is not a fun location, although with the Almanac, I can deal with it pretty easily. But there's also the Cursed Mist I like because that's going to put into play the Fog Bank. And the nice thing about the Fog Bank is that allows you to engage an enemy ship and deal with the boarding, but not have to deal with the ship. Although, that might be better off later on. Well, maybe I should deal with Into the Storm? Alright, I decided to go with Cursed Mists to get the Fog Bank into play. I don't have to travel to it right away, but it will be useful if there's a ship I need to engage. Like I said, if I want to deal, that way I can deal with the raiders first, and allowing me to do other things with the ships in that round. You can see, not too bad. I need 6 progress to finish this one, and my ships take a penalty if I'm off course. So this time, instead of getting the +2 for being on course, I'll get the -2 if I'm off course, but really not relying so much on my ships for questing as I am my characters, and they are very good at it. All right, so now I have the option to travel. Again, if I want to travel here, throw myself off course, this would potentially engage me. But then between this card and Folco Boffin, I could get down to 17 threat. I'm not going to do that yet, though. I do want his resource collection. And I could travel to the Fog Bank. But again, I outquested by 8 last time. I'm in pretty good shape from a questing standpoint. So that being the case, yeah, I'm just going to stand pat, not travel. And that is then going to bring me to the end of the turn where everybody will refresh. I'll raise my threat, and we can move on to turn 2. Resource phase, a couple of lore resources, and spirit, and looking at 2 cards, so it's another map, very useful, or resourceful, even more useful. So I'm going to grab that, and may not be long for Folco Boffin to be around. Not going to get rid of Folco yet, because honestly, I don't want to spend his resource yet. So instead, I'm going to put Unexpected Courage on Cirdan. For multiple reasons. Later on, once he gets Narya, that'll allow him to use Narya, then ready. For now, it means he can do sailing tests, and then be back up. He can quest, not exhaust, and then be ready if he needs to attack or defend. Very versatile. Obviously, not going to play resourceful. The one downside is here, I'm not getting that free resource, because at the moment, don't have any cards I can play. I'm going to hold on to the Atlas. That is mainly in there for, I have a player card that lets me the Stone of Elasterian, where I have to have a guarded location. So ideally, I can take care of that. Although I have multiple ways of taking care of locations. Either way, there are other scarier locations, like the Water Spout, that would be really good to use. So that's it for that. Now I can go on to the quest phase, and we'll do this similar. That'll be 2, the sailing phase, that'll be 2. We'll exhaust Unexpected Courage, so that's 3, and I think my odds are pretty good at this point, so that should probably be enough, although if I want to be really safe, I could also do him. No, I think I'm good with 3, so we'll go ahead. Yeah, there's 2 right there. No, and no, so odds are getting better with that draw of successful sailing, so that tilts, goes back. Now I can go ahead and quest. Again, I'm not planning on engaging anything this turn. Still trying to build up. So that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Why not? And then checking the deck is going to be another location, another fog bank. I have no problem with that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. So I did manage to make 3 progress, and you know what? Do I want to play this now? No, I'll save that. I could always do it next turn. So yeah, I'll just take the 3 progress. At this point, I think I probably should travel to one of these fog banks, just to make sure I don't muddle things up too much. I can still optionally engage that, even though the fog bank means they just don't auto-engage. Actually, before I travel, I should draw my 5 cards from here. There comes Strider again, and another resourceful. Also to the sea, which would help me get Glorfindel into play. But yeah, I think being able to jack up my resource production, then I won't need the reduction. And one other thing I realized, I didn't exhaust Cirdan. I should have, because I'm not getting that other benefit of Strider as long as he's in play. Again, didn't really matter, doesn't change anything. I will then go ahead, and now I can ready everybody, raise my threat, and now I can get set for the next turn. Here we go, resource phase, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, drawing 2 cards, another copy of Narya or Protector of Lorien. I mean, Protector of Lorien would be nice because it's a 1 cost, but I've already discarded 1 Narya. I don't think I want to discard the other. I can always get that back with Will of the West for a reshuffle, so yeah, I'm going to hold on to this. Right, so I think for the planning phase, I'm going to go 1 more round, keeping Folco around, and just kind of questing through this. I'm not going to play anything yet, still going to hold off, accumulate some more resources, then I'll be able to get Galdor into play next turn. Should be in good shape there. So, and, you know, in a pinch, if I need to clear the staging area, I have the means to do that. I could always play this card as an action. So, kind of our typical situation here, as I will go ahead and sail for 2 plus 1 more. So 3 sailing cards, and I'm only going to rotate that if I need to. So that's a success already. Another success, another success. Don't love seeing that. So I guess before next turn I may reconfigure or may count again to see where I'm at deck-wise instead of just going by feel. Now, who do I want to quest with? Again, I'm not planning on engaging. The only question would be if I wanted to engage this to get it out of the staging area. I guess also the factor is I don't necessarily want to quest so heavily that I finish that off. So I'm going to do some math and see how I want to go. And I'm actually thinking I don't want to get too cute, so I will go ahead 3, 4, 5, 11. We'll keep one guy back just in case. So questing with 13. And all right, well, it is a treachery, so I probably am going to clear this out. So it's actually pretty interesting. I would have cleared out the fog bank, but I'm actually going to let this throw me off course. I am not going to increase my threat. So the end result of that is going to be that this questing is going to be a little bit less. Instead of questing for 13, I'm questing for 11. And 11 progress versus the 8 in the staging area means I'm going to put 3 on here, which works out pretty well. Again, I could play this for one more, but might as well hold on until next turn. I like having a little bit of flexibility if I find myself needing that extra jump. So, all right, having quested successfully, I can look at the top 5 cards, and okay, now we are in business as I will be able to play this next turn. Now we move on to the encounter phase. Again, normally I would engage this. It's got the minus 15 threat since I'm off course. However, because of the fog bank, it will not engage, so I can just move on to the refresh phase. Okay, now turn 4. Now I've reached the point where Folco probably is going to have to take off. I guess I should have used that for the extra last turn. That's fine. I forgot that I was going to have to do it now in order to play resourceful before my threat goes up again. So with those resources put out, yeah, what I really want to do is get the Stone of Elysterion into play. So yeah, you can see here, I mean, incredibly good. I'm going to have to deal with the location. I should be able to do that very quickly, if not right away. And again, the benefit there is going to be +2 willpower, so I'll be able to get Cirdan up to 8, and more importantly, drawing an extra card every turn. It's going to cost me 1 resource, but it's odd, so I'll get a resource back, and I think I am going to want another lore resource, probably. Yeah, I barely have any spirit cards. So, all right, so I put this into play. It's guarded, so I have to draw. It's guarded location only. That was a key reason I put this in the deck. If it were enemy, I mean, I could probably deal with that too. But this way, it's only going to be a location. Although I guess in this particular quest, there's ship enemies in here. That would be bad. All right, so it's a water spout. Then I think the cards that were guarded that are not effect as you go through, those get discarded. So now this is in play with this attached. Importantly, it only takes 3 progress to get past, so that is excellent. I can go ahead and do that right now. Sorry, Galdor, not going to be able to get you into play just yet, although I'm going to backtrack to the resource phase because I never actually drew my card. So my choices are between, all right, an ally or attack value. I would definitely prefer to have that added attack value right now. Inevitably, I'm going to probably face one of these big ships or Corsairs, so that will come in handy. Especially with the way I've been boosting him and the potential to attack multiple times with the unexpected courage. So, right. Going back now to, I do want to go ahead and play this card, which is going to allow me to put 2 progress on any location. I do have another one in my discard pile, so I get to do it twice. We'll play the resources off of here. Also, in shuffling resources around, I would want the extra lore resource here, not here, since I am going to be getting rid of him. So That sounds so sinister. Pushing him overboard. Well, like I said, we're going to give him a rowboat. Hope he finds his way back to shore. Things are getting a little too dangerous out here. So let's go ahead and resolve this twice. Both times going to be here. So that's going to clear that out. I'm going to be able to attach this to Cirdan. And we are in business. So like I said, I do want to be able to get myself down to 20 threat. So I'm going to go ahead so I can do secrecy, use Folco's action to lower my threat by 7. I will then play Elrond's Counsel to lower another 3, dropping me from 30 down to 20, and the willpower is wasted. But now that I'm in secrecy range, both of these guys can each spend a resource. So we'll get some extra lore generation, some extra spirit generation, because no doubt I'm eventually going to need that. Again, resourceful normally costs 4, but if you're at 20 threat, you get the secrecy bonus, which in that case is -3. So, hand size getting low. We still haven't used Galdor's ability, which is when I flush my hand, I'll be able to draw back up 6 cards. That'll be really nice when that comes to next turn. We will probably get Galdor into play. So then the last question is, do I want to play the Almanac? I no longer need to save it for the stone, so I can use it to help clear out allocations. Potentially this one might not be a bad idea. Yeah, let's go ahead and set ourselves up so that I can put progress on this. I'm of course going to have to clear this location out first, but we will get there. That is going to do it for the planning phase. Going to save these resources again. I've got the 1 in case I need one of these cards, probably this one. Now, sailing a little bit more tricky, as in this case, yeah, I'm already 1 off. So it's going to go to the worst possible situation. So I'm going to take a look at the deck so I have a sense of where I'm at. Still not ready to engage. I only have 3 characters, and I'm down to 20 threat, so I can be pretty aggressive here. Again, if I clear this fog bank out, which I hope I will, I can always travel to the other one. Of course, if I'm on course, then I'm fine anyway. So I'm going to go ahead, do a sailing test with here. I am going to do a sailing test with here with unexpected courage, and I guess for 1 more, I will also go ahead and go here. So I think they can be contributed to sailing test, 6 1/2 dozen. So that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that I get to draw. Actually, my odds aren't great. Do I want to go for a 5th? No, I think that's okay. Again, if I'm off course, it's not terrible. So here we go. Drawing 4 cards off the deck. That is no, no, yes, no. All right, so I'm going to end up staying where I'm at, which is not optimal, but again, like I said, I can just travel here. So now we will go ahead and quest with, or maybe I don't want to clear this out. That's questing for 8. I definitely want to send him for the cards. So yeah, I'll just keep him back. I'm questing for 10 versus the 8 in the staging area. Yeah, this is where it'd be really nice to have Elrond's Counsel. Don't mind my threat going up a little bit. So yeah, I'll just stick with these 2. And the card is, well, it's going to be going up. Yes. Threat is going to be going up, as it is another ship that I have to deal with. That one's not terrible. So I quest for 10 versus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the staging area. So I have to raise my threat by 2. And that is going to do it for that. I guess the only other question there, if I wanted to, I could engage one of these ships, and I would have to deal with whatever enemies come off the deck, but I at least won't, because I have the fog bank, I wouldn't have to deal with the ship. I just don't have a lot of firepower right now. I've already used my unexpected courage, so basically I could block with one, probably not do much damage with the other, unless of course I block with him. I can do a lot of damage with that, but probably better off saving that for a ship. Yeah, the other thing I'm aware of is I will have Gildor in play next turn, which means I can also play Narya, putting myself in a position to have 2 allies I can ready. I'll be in much better shape to deal with one of these ships then. So one downside is I have not quested successfully, so I'm not going to get to use this ability. I wouldn't have quested successfully if I'd sent him anyway, because you have to be higher than the total for it to count as successful questing. There's just no penalty if you're even. So no free card draw. So we're off course, but because of the fog bank, no automatic engagement. So now I can just go to refresh and the next turn. Resource generation looking good, as I'm going to get 2 lore resources, 2 spirit, and now I get to draw 3 cards thanks to the stone, and I will still have to discard one of them. To the sea could come in handy. Silver harp really good. I've already discarded one of these, but my resource generation also pretty good right now, and I kind of like all the cards in my hand. So, but the benefit of to the sea is it is a useful card to discard. So, a couple considerations. I'm going to take a moment to think it through. I think I do want to insulate myself for the raiders that I know are coming, so I'm going to discard the ally, and I'll keep these 2, and then we'll just go ahead and spend all 5 from here to put Gildor into play. I am going to gain a resource back for that. At this point, all my cards are either spirit or neutral, so we will add another spirit resource. I'd like to get the harp into play, but I can wait a turn. I think more important, I do want to get Narya out, and then I also do want this protection in case I do decide to engage one of these this turn. That's an easy card I can discard. So, having done that, now ready to go into the questing phase, and of course, first we have to deal with sailing. My odds not great here, but let's see. I don't want this to get too bad, so we'll do the 2. We'll do the unexpected courage for 3. Otherwise, I think I need to clear the staging area a bit of these locations. So I am going to quest probably pretty aggressively this turn. So we'll just do 3 on the check. That is going to be no, no, no. Okay, well, that is not good, as we are now down to the worst position, and hopefully that will not have dire consequences. Only going to be getting 1 out of questing out of this, but I might as well. 1, 4, 5, 6, plus 8 is 14, plus 2 more is 16, and here we go. Okay, it's a location. All right, well, I ended up questing with 16 versus the 15 staging in the staging area, so at least I get a little progress here. Fogbank's still in play. Things are getting a little crowded. At this point, I feel like I have to engage one of these, and I'm just going to have to deal. I'll still be able to use Narya to get people up. I'll have good defense. Might be able to get a little bit of damage in as well. I think I'm just going to gauge the scouting ship, deal with 1 at a time. So it's got boarding 1, and that is going to be that guy. I don't love the Vicious Marauder, as I will have to discard a random card from my hand, and then he'll have resources on him, dealing some damage to me. Let's find out. We'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Rerolling a 10. It's 7. Ugh. Easy come, easy go. I have lost the silver harp. Oh, but actually, before that happens, I keep forgetting, I did quest successfully, so we're going to have to re-roll because I should have resolved this to draw 5 cards. Well, would you look at that? It's not even much of a choice. The only attachments I drew were additional silver harps. So I'll shuffle that in a moment. And let me roll the die again. 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Going to be a 3. Why couldn't I have lost a harp? All right, that is too bad. But that's the card I lost. But I guess the good news is it's only 1 token on here. And now, I do have to deal with this guy. All right, in this situation, he's going to attack, and before that happens, I will use Narya to ready both of these guys, giving them +1 defense, +1 offense. The attack will be defended by Galdor, who's got 4 defense, and when he attacks, I'm going to have to deal 1 damage to somebody. I will deal it... Well, let's see. I guess I will put it over here. And then let's see what the shadow effect is. It's going to be +2 if I have an exhausted ship, which I do. So that's a 5 attack against my 4 defense, so Galdor takes 1 damage. Of course, this ship does not attack. Don't have to worry about that. Yeah, this guy could attack, but can't do any damage. Can't get through the defense. So that is going to do it for that. I will refresh, and I'm going to have to deal with this guy and hopefully take him out next turn. And I certainly didn't have to engage that, and maybe I made things tough for myself. But like I said, I do want to start clearing through the staging area a bit. So that is the choice I made. We will live with it. And grab our resources. Again, getting to draw 3 cards, keeping 2 of them. That is really good. At this point, a resourceful, not as useful, another really good. I'm going to be able to clear 6 progress with this. That is going to help out quite a bit. So, too bad I lose that resourceful. That's fine. We'll keep these 2, and now I have options. First things first, I do want to play a 1-cost card, so I will go ahead and play this. And there's a sequence here that I'll go through, do things in order. So first things first, before that goes in my discard pile, I'm going to draw the top 5 cards of my deck, or look at the top 5 cards of my deck, and put one in my hand. And those cards are going to be an Unexpected Courage, always a good thing. To the sea, don't need that. That was actually the card I was thinking I would search my deck for, if need be. Just because now that I'm starting to take damage, having regular healing would be really good. So that's a strong consideration. Threat reduction, I'm not worried about right now. Combat could certainly come in handy. A lot of good options, but I think in this situation, the most useful thing to me is the Unexpected Courage, because I've fallen way behind on this. Things could get very bad very quickly. So by keeping the Unexpected Courage, I can put that on my other hero, or I can put it, yeah, and that way if they both have an Unexpected Courage, I can have them both do a sailing test and still have them available. Now that I've finished resolving the card, it was an odd card, I can gain a resource. I'm going to gain another lore resource so that I have the ability to play this if need be. All right, I think that I've worked this out to the point that I actually, one of the nice things that I know, there's 3 cards left in the deck. I know just by looking at the discard pile what's in play that 2 of them have the ship wheel. So I'm just going, and these guys should be ready. I'm just going to have to, if I do 3 sailing, you can't get any lower than this. So the 2 successes will get me back on course. So I'm going to do Unexpected Courage just to maximize the amount of questing I can do. This way I can have him first the sailing test, and I need 3 for that. So I'm going to use these 2 guys and this guy for my 3. That way I can use his 5 willpower for questing. So, looking at 3 cards off the deck, again, we're all good there. Now, of course, I have no idea what I'm going to be facing as I have to reshuffle the encounter deck once I quest, but still feeling in a little bit better situation here. Now for questing, I can go ahead and send the Dream Chaser for 5, keeping him back, that's important. Sending him 6-7, sending him for another 8, so 15. So we're questing 17. Should definitely be able to make some progress. Another big ship. And this one is not fun. This is the Corsair warship, which I had to deal with in my last playthrough game. It's got archery 4, so I can have it sit in the staging area, but it is going to do a lot of damage, so now I really do need to find Eorith, get her into play, so I can kind of counter some of that damage. On the plus side, I haven't taken a lot of damage on my ships this far in, so I feel like I've done pretty good on that front, but I definitely rather take the damage on my characters and then heal it if I can. don't have any way of healing damage to ships. Okay. I do have an opportunity. I've made one progress as things stand right now. So that will clear out this location. I can then travel to the other fog bank so I don't have to deal with this attack yet. The other option that I could do here is I could play this card, clear out both of these locations. But knowing I'm going to be getting another Starlit Sea into play, so I kind of want to hold off, see if I can, and I'll be able to quest a little bit more next turn. So I think, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my one progress, which is going to clear off the fog bank. I've quested successfully, so we'll go ahead and go searching for an attachment. Light of the Valinor, that is excellent. Yeah, and now with the travel phase, I do need to travel over here to make sure that I am still not dealing with this ship. And yeah, because I don't want to clear this out using a card. If I can, that's kind of a waste. So having done that, now it is engagement phase. I'm not going to engage this, which means at the beginning of the combat phase, I am going to have to take 4 damage, and then I am going to have to deal with this guy. All right, I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and do the archery damage. I'm going to put 3 of it on here and 1 of it over here. And then when this guy attacks, I'll just put 1 more damage here. I'll do that now. He is going to get a shadow card. And once again, he's going to attack, and order of operations matters here. I am going to exhaust to defend, which is going to open up an action window. And just to kind of show you, how this process works. So he is now going to attack, and he's already at a 3. No shadow effect. But even if he were, the shadow effect resolves. Let's say it gave him +2 attack. That would resolve. He gained the +2 attack. He does not deal damage yet. There is another open action window, at which point, and I might as well just do it, I can exhaust him with Narya to go ahead and ready these 2. So even after you've seen the shadow effect and it resolves, before damage is dealt, you can ready the guy. So having done that, he takes no damage. Yay. Now they both have +1 to attack, so that's 3/6. That takes this guy out. So that much is accomplished. We've cleared things a little bit. Next, we're going to need to deal with this scouting ship so that we can get ready for another one coming. But that's going to do it for this round. All right, turn 7 up to 25 threat. We're swimming in resources now, and I just realized, I was thinking I need another good ally. I have Glorfindel in the discard pile, and I do have to the sea, so I could discard cards to help get him into play. That is going to come in really handy. Let's see what I draw here. Another copy of Strider. Another search, a Will of the West, which I definitely cannot discard. I only have 1 in my deck now, so I'm going to need to hold on to that. So yeah, it's definitely going to be Strider that goes. I will hold on to the 2 of these. Now, much as I want to get Glorfindel into play this turn, I've seen what happens when this goes unchecked. I think what I need to do here is get my healing. And so I'm going to go ahead and play this for 1. So that is also going to let me produce a resource, so I can produce a spirit resource after it all resolves. So actually, let's set that aside. Then I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be a while before I think I can play Imrahil, so I'm going to take that, and then I do want to get Eorth. So easy come, easy go on the resources, but then I can search my deck for Eorth, get her into play. Just kind of, well, that's very out of sight. We'll put her over here. And now at least I'm in a position where I can deal with some of this damage. In fact, there's little reason not to do it right now, as I will exhaust her and spend a lore resource to heal 3 damage from a character. Oh, but I did, because it's an odd card, I do get to produce an extra resource now. So now I have another spirit resource. I could put a Light of Valinor in play, but I think more important to hold on in case I need Hasty Stroke or the extra attack power. Now I do want to deal with this, so for sailing, I am just going to use my unexpected courages here and here. So I'll just do 2 off the deck. And yeah, that's a success. And also a success. So we remain on course. Now, again, keeping these back from a questing standpoint, I think I can safely... Well, definitely, yeah, I can send these to 5, and of course, that's 13. I do want to make sure I am questing successfully, so I will send him as well. All right, 15 going in. And off the encounter deck, it is going to be a treachery. This is, I am not off course, so this is the one that has no ill effects, although I did lose another captain's wheel. Unfortunate. All right, looking things over, I realize I'm going to be stuck in the mud if I don't clear out the staging area, so this will go to waste. I think I just need to do this now. So I'm going to be able to place 2 progress 3 times, so we'll go here, here, and here. That's going to take out both of these. They're explored, and now the staging area is a lot less. 15 versus 7 is 8 progress, which means 5 to clear out this location, then 3, which is going to clear this quest stage, and I am on course, so I can choose which of the top 2 I want to go to next. Also, having successfully quested, I do get to look at the top 5 cards, and hey, it's another harp, and don't really have another choice, so I'm going to take that, shuffle up the deck. Yeah, so like I said, I need to decide where I want to go. Basically, either I'm facing a Starlit Sea or a Raider. Don't really want to deal... I've got enough ships right now that I'm dealing with, so I think I am going to grab the location one. All right, now I realize, actually, the nice thing, the Starlit Sea, not so bad because I can actually travel there, right? So I complete the encounter phase, the new card comes into play, I can immediately travel to it, I'm on course, so might as well throw that up there, and that's pretty easy to deal with, get it out of the staging area, and then I'm in a situation where it is the combat phase. Of course, this is going to nail me with the archery 5. We'll load up 3 damage here, another one here. This guy gets a shadow card. I will defend the 5 attack with the 5 defense thanks to the upgrade, and that is going to be so this would be a +2 bonus to the attack if I were off course. I'm not, so otherwise no effect, so no damage to my ship. Now I can strike back. This has an attack value of 5, so I do need to do 8 to do this, so I'll just go ahead and ready these 2. They can all attack together, doing more than enough. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we've defeated that ship. And now a little bit smoother sailing, although still pirates chasing after us. And I'm realizing now that I have turn 8 already up there and the threat. That was because I was going to end the turn. I kind of had made that decision. Did my refresh phase, stepped away, came back, took another look at the board even before I had drawn any of my cards, and thought, no, I need to clear out the staging area. So that said, let's move on to turn 8. Resource phase, I'm going to put a couple here, 2 here, get to draw 3 cards, of which I will have to discard 1. Yeah, that's easy. I will discard 2 to sea. Nice to have that in play for some protection, and another ally, which... I'm probably not going to play this round because ideally I think I'd like to use... I need to get back ahead of the healing curve, use Eorith a couple times, because I'm going to continue to take damage from this. So, much as I want to get Glorfindel into play, I think at this point it would be worthwhile to first get a harp into play. I'm only going to be able to play 2 of these. They are restricted, so... But I'll put this one over here. He doesn't have any restricted attachments yet. That's going to cost me 2. And then... I do want to get the resource back, which I could potentially... There's a bunch of cards I could potentially cast or play, but I might end up playing none of them. So I think that being the case, I'm going to go ahead, put this into play over here. That's going to cost me 1. Then I'll just take the resource right back. So now I'm in a position where potentially, yeah, and let's just go ahead and do this now. I could wait. I don't want to. I want to heal some damage. And now I'm ready to go on and start sailing. At this point, I'm in a little bit better control. I can bide my time. I will use both Unexpected Courage to commit these 2 guys to the sailing test. I'll also do this for 2. Might be a little bit of overkill, but that's fine. 1, fail, success, fail, fail. All right, I only needed 1 anyway, so having taken care of that, now I can quest. Again, I'm not planning on encountering anything. So 3 plus 8 is 11, 13, 16. He doesn't have to exhaust, so that's 18 questing versus another treachery. So the treachery I drew is boarding party. I could cancel it. Normally I might, but I don't think it's too bad. I can heal him, I can ready him, get the good defense. I won't be able probably to kill anything this round, but I can deal with it next turn. I'd rather hold on to that for something maybe a little bit more frightening. So yeah, let's see what shows up. It is... all right, that is not a bad one. I've drawn the Sothron Sailor, which just makes these guys, when they're engaged with me, they still contribute their threat, but they're not engaged with me. Okay, but all of that was just resolving that. I now have to actually resolve the quest. Again, I quested for 18 versus just 7 in the staging area. 2 progress is going to go here and finish this off, and then I will easily breeze through this quest. So that one is done. 2 down, 2 to go. Now, I could advance to stage 3. That's the one on top of the deck, but because of the good weather, I can choose to. And actually, I do want to go for that extra XP, so I'm going to go ahead and steer into the storm. And there is Into the Storm. So with this quest, I do have to put a water spout into play, which again, I could travel to. Yeah, don't think I'm going to travel there and take all that ship damage. It's just 2 threat in the staging area. I should be able to easily quest through that. Now onto the combat phase, where at the beginning, I do have to do archery 4, so 3 damage there, and Galdor was only at 1, so now Galdor is at 2. And this guy will get a shadow card. I will go ahead and ready both of these guys. Yeah, I should be able to kill this guy, so I'm not going to be able to heal with her this turn, but I'll do it next turn. He'll go ahead and attack. Galdor, with his now 4 defense, will defend, and there is no shadow effect. So that is discarded. And then I can go ahead and attack for 3, 4, 5, which is just enough to take this guy out. Turn 9, deck's starting to get pretty lean. Might be time to Will of the West soon, but first, let's get some more resources. And go ahead, drawing 3 cards, but now I have the Silver Harp, and I'll hang on to all 3. Probably just going to discard them to make Glorfindel cheaper anyway. Yeah, so now just a matter of figuring out what I want to play. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the second Silver Harp into play, because that will be handy for Galdor's, or for Glorfindel's discard ability. Then I can go ahead and spend 1 resource from here. All right, so spending just 1 resource, which means I now need to discard 4 cards. In order to play Glorfindel to make up that cost. Again, as long as I pay at least 1, I can do the rest. So those discards are going to be these 3 cards. Not like I can play another harp since they are restricted. Don't need the Light of the Valinor right now, and this I'd rather have in my discard pile. The 4th card doesn't matter because I'm just going to use my other Silver Harp to get that card back after I discard it. The other one, of course, I used at the beginning of the turn. So all that said, I can go ahead, bring Glorfindel into play. We are now at 6 allies, so -2, but a net gain by having him in. At that point, I might as well also get this guy into play. Hand size getting down, and actually, that's not a bad thing, because at some point, I still have this ability to draw. So I'm in a really good position to be able to use Glorfindel a bunch of times. He can quest, he can sail, he can go into combat multiple times. A lot of good stuff. So now I just need to keep trucking along. And actually just kind of organizing all my cards. I only have one restricted attachment on him, 2 here, so I could play another harp. So I'm going to hang on to the harp. I'm going to discard the card draw instead. And yeah, I'd like to, even though it's all spirit resources. Also, when I played Glorfindel, who cost 5, I do gain back a resource. So we'll throw one here. Okay, now I'm ready to quest, or I'm gonna use this not to quest because then it would be discarded. So just to do the sailing test. So that's 1, 2, 3 should be more than enough. Honestly, I'm getting at a point where I probably could engage another one of these. I'd like to have a few more resources before I do, so I'll plan on doing that next turn. 1, 2, 3 should be enough, but just in case, we will also use Unexpected Courage here. So now I've got 4 people. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just need 1 success, and yeah, I got 2, so that's good. Now I can go ahead, decide who's going to quest. Again, obviously it's going to be here. Just 6 now. Losing the +2 bonus. +2 is 8, and I have this backwards. Actually, yeah, I don't have the resources, so I actually could have put her on the sailing test, even though I meant to do him. We'll do it that way. That is nice that Yorith normally can't do anything but heal, but in this situation, she does have the ability. All right, going back to who's heading out. It's going to be 3, 9, 10, 11. In a pinch, I can always ready him, so sure, we'll do that. That's 14, and 17 should be more than enough. No, we want to send this guy too. So 19 total. Drawing off the deck is going to be a location. This is going to be Calm Waters, which is really nice. It's going to make sailing tests a lot easier since I get to draw 3 extra cards. So I will certainly go ahead and travel to that. But first, I do need to resolve my questing result. All right, it was 19 that I quested with versus now 10 in the staging area, which is 9 progress, which is more than enough to take care of this one. So now I've completed 3 of the stage 2s. So of course I will bring the other one into play, and that means I'm going to have to deal with another enemy ship. And I'm realizing I showed you the wrong quest card before. Now I'm doing Caliphon's Divination. That's the one where I have to put a scout ship into play. Having quested successfully, I will dig through with the woodsman, hunting around the ship for usable supplies, not finding any. I wonder if I even have any attachments left in my deck. I will have to do something about that. Getting, as I said, getting very low, going to need to reshuffle soon. No problem. Then I will go ahead, and at this point, yeah, I'll travel here. I have things pretty well under control, but not getting engaged yet, though. I want to make sure I'm all ready for that and prepared. I do have to deal with the archery damage, so 3 there, and then we'll just throw 1 over here. Turn 10, 28 threat. Really helpful being able to get rid of my character, go all the way down to 20. It has been very helpful, allowing me to really take my time. All right, a test of will, another sailor. Again, it's 6 1/2 dozen if I use one of these now. So I will go ahead and I'll just keep all 3 cards. Yeah, Given my location, I am in a position to cause a whole bunch of damage. And I've got Lords of the Eldar here, so know that I'll be able to play that, giving all my Noldar characters a +1 to willpower, to attack, and to defense. It lasts for the entire round, so I don't have to finalize that commitment yet. I can go ahead and see what I draw off the quest deck before I go ahead and play it. Of course, it's an odd card. I'll be able to get a spirit resource back, which will allow me to play one of these cards. So first with the sailing test, I want to keep it simple. I don't know if I have to send anybody sailing or how that works, but assuming I do, I will Unexpected Courage. Yeah, because it's 2 additional cards during the sailing phase. So actually, let's hang on to Unexpected Courage because he is a Noldar who's gaining all the benefits. We'll just go ahead and use him. So that is going to give me 1, 2, 3. That should be enough. Yeah, that's good. 3 successes. Yeah, no problem. Okay, leaving just 3 cards on the deck. And I'm not going to go so far as to figure out exactly what they are. We'll just move forward and figure out who... Okay, I'm going to engage one of these ships. I'm going to keep them back for questing. Certainly going to send these 2 guys. I could probably discard... I could afford to discard a guy to send him as well. I'll be able to play Lords of Eldar for +1. I'll send this guy. We'll see if I need to send anybody else. All right, I'm eyeing the XP from taking out the Raider, which means I want maximum availability here. So of my characters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quest with him. I'm going to discard a card so that he's not discarded. And that is going to give me 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And yeah, we're going to send him as well. So now I'm at 12. I can potentially get 3 more. By playing the Lord's card from my discard pile, so I feel like I'm in pretty good situation there. That 12 against a Treachery. All right, it's thrown off course, which I don't really love, but I kind of want to hold on to my spirit resources so I can play this card this turn for a huge attack, especially if I'm going to engage the big guy. So I'll take the threat bump up to 32, no progress to clear, so we will just resolve that. All right, so I've quested for 12 versus 11 in the staging area. Again, I could get 3 more, but I am perfectly happy just putting 1 progress on this location, letting it remain as the active location, so I get that bonus on my sailing checks. So, having done that, that is going to do it for that. I did successfully quest, so are there any more in here? Let's take a look. No, but there's lots of threat reduction. No. So we'll shuffle all those back in, and now it is decision time, and yeah, I'm going to go for it. I am going to fight a whole bunch of enemies as I am going to go after the raiding ship. All right, it's time to take on the big one. I am going for the Corsair warship, not the raiding ship. This is the one that's worth victory points. I get it in the victory display, then I am going to gain extra XP. That sounds good. So, yeah, let's go ahead and face off against this. It does have boarding 3, so 3 enemies coming into play. And those will be a motley crew. Actually, really not that rough, although I am going to have to discard some stuff. In this case, I'll keep it simple. I'll discard To the Sea, which I don't really need, and Light of Valinor from here. I'd rather hold on to the harps. Also, why put too many resources on these guys? They each get 1, so not too bad. Now, lots of shadow cards, lots of attacking. I can play Lords of Eldar to bump up all my Noldar. I can do some pretty crazy stuff with bonuses to attack here, either on over here or over here. So, gonna work it all out. Right, and I did not plan this, but there are only 2 cards left in the deck, which means you do not reshuffle in that case. Just deal them to the highest enemies. So only 2 guys are getting a shadow card. That is very nice. And next step up is this will be the first attack. That one's easy. Going to defend here. 5 defense. It's an 8 attack. Not much to be done for it, but we have not taken much damage at all. And no shadow effect. So 8 against 5. Just 3 more damage. So we're doing okay there. Guess I might as well attack with him next. And yeah, I'm going to defend with Glorfindel, even though he's got 2 damage on him. I'm not worried about that because, again, I have ample opportunity to play effects. So here comes his attack, and his shadow card will be also no effect. So he's a base of 2 damage, 1 from the resource, so it's 3 damage against the 3 shields. No damage. Now I can strike back. Well, no. I still have to deal with these 2 enemies, but the advantage here is less worried about it since I know they don't have shadow cards. That being the case, this may be overkill, but I'm going to go ahead and use Eorith, who's hiding out on the ship over here. We'll put her over here. Spend a resource to heal the 3 damage here. I'll then take both of these attacks undefended. So from this guy, it is going to be 3 damage. So 3 damage right back on here. From this guy, 2 damage. We'll put it over here. And all right, now everybody's attacked. We'll just ready them all just for space. Now I can go ahead and start taking things down. Still have to decide. Let me do the math. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm not even going to need to use Lords of Eldar this turn. What I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and play Fate and Perilous on Glorfindel using 1 resource, which I'll then gain back. That is going to give him +3. Add his willpower to his attacks. So first things first, he's got 6 attack. He needs a little help to take out one of these guys. So we'll just use an unexpected courage. And so that's going to be 8 damage, taking this guy out. So that's 1 down. Now we can go ahead and use the unexpected courage over here, as we're going to use Narya to ready Glorfindel and Galdor. So now they've got +1 to their attack. So Glorfindel, all by his lonesome, can do a 7 attack and take out the other guy. Then I will discard a card to ready Glorfindel. I can do that once per phase. So that's my 1 time to use that ability. I have to use a harp so that I can hang on to that card. And now this is a 5 attack, +7 is 12. And I just need 2 more, which I can get from over here. And that is going to be 14 damage to this ship. And that is worth victory points, so that does not go in the discard pile. Then, last but not least, I do have 4 attack, so I can whack this guy, knock his hit points down a bit. And you know what? Check that. I actually can't do any damage to him because he's only a base 2. So instead of readying Galdor, I'm just going to ready Eorith instead. That's going to allow me to go ahead and use her again right now to clear away some more of this damage. So this guy stays alive, which is fine. He'll go back to the staging area. And if he attacks a couple more times, we'll be able to take him out and gain more XP. All right, well, that was a lot, but very effective. I think now I am going to take a break, call it a night, but I will be back very soon to complete this quest, and for you, it'll be just like that. All right, round 11, 33 threat. Things are looking pretty good. Got a lot of characters, a lot of abilities out, and really got my engine going. I've only got 6 cards left in the deck, so I will be needing to use Will of the West soon. But let's see. With these 3 guards, I mean, I guess I'll just keep all of them using the harp once. So then I think in this case, I'm just going to play one more harp. So I'll get that into play. Not going to play him just yet because then I would have to exhaust a quest. So it would actually kind of be a net negative. Yeah, I'd get some more resources, but I'm good on that front. All right, so now just it's having to decide. Probably going to want to engage another one of these ships, which means not using these, keeping them back, and then, because it is one of the goals to get XP, is to have no ships at the end. So while I could race to the end, no reason to do that. Might as well continue to clean things up. All right, so I've realized things get kind of messy when I'm exhausting all these cards. So to try and keep things a little bit tidier, I'm just going to use tokens. So I already used the silver heart. Now it's time for the sailing test. In this case, I really only need to use one because I've still got the active location. So I get to draw an additional 2 cards. And yeah, that's a success. That is a success. That is not. And now to go ahead and quest, I've got 6, 8, I've got 10 in the staging area, so I just want to make sure I'm ahead of that. In this case, I'll use Unexpected Courage for him, so that's 2 plus 6 is 8. Even though I don't have any attachments in my deck, I will send this guy to get up to 10, and then we'll send Galdor to get up to 13. Hopefully that's good enough. I don't mind this location staying out, so let's see. Well, it's going to be another ship, unfortunately. So that does mean I did not quest successfully. My threat goes up by 1, but still at 34. One last thing I'm going to do during the questing phase, I'm going to discard a card to ready Glorfindel, and now I can optionally engage just one card, so much as I'd like to deal with this guy, I got to get one of these guys out of the staging area. So I will engage a ship and get ready to do the boarding and take it down. It's got boarding 2, so it is going to bring out a pair of raiders. All right, Captain, I can't attack enemy ships, but that's not too bad because I can just kill the captain first and then attack the ship. So I should be able to take him out. And then with the other one, I'm going to have to discard an attachment. I'm going to discard Strider since I do have the Unexpected Courage. So, and, you know, I have the option possibly as I'm going to be reshuffling my deck to get Light of the Valinor back or to get Strider back. So that'll put 1 resource on him. Now I have to deal with the enemies. Also, these both get a resource from him. Almost forgot about that. Before I do that, you know, I was kind of cleaning things up, and I realized I only have 3 cards in my deck, which means I'm going to be playing Will of the West next turn. So now is as good a time as any to play Lords of the Eldar before I have to shuffle it back in. That costs 3 resources to play that. It will go on the bottom of my deck, and just popping that up, you can see all of my Noldor are going to get +1 to all their attributes for the whole round. Probably would have been good to play that during the questing phase, but I just forgot about it. We'll keep things moving forward, but this is going to make him a very good defender as he can now defend for 4. So first attack is coming from the 5 attack from the captain, so I will exhaust him to defend that. I will then go ahead and use Unexpected Courage and Narya to ready him. He's now at 5 defense. I'll ready him as well, and that attack with the 5 is no shadow effect, so no damage. So that takes care of that. Next will be the ship, which I will defend with the Dream Chaser. That's a 6 attack versus a 5. And that shadow effect is, well, any excess damage is dealt to a ship. That was happening anyway. So 1 damage there. Not too bad. Finally, for this attack, I mean, it is a 4 attack. Just play it safe and have him defend against that. So that one is going to be, if it were damaging a ship, I would be off course. Fortunately, that not the case. No damage gets through. Now I can counter strike, and I do need to target the captain first. Going to need to do 8 damage to him, so I kind of want to make sure I can maximize this with my various modifiers. Actually, I don't even, I think think there's going to be excess no matter what, because I'm 4, 3, and 3, and 3 on my attacks. So yeah. Yeah, that being the case, I think I'm just going to do it this way. So a 4 attack plus 3 and 3 is overkill. It's 10, but that will take out the captain. I need to deal 8 damage to him. So now that he's removed, I can go ahead and ready Glorfindel by discarding a card, which I don't have to discard. I'll just use the Silver Harp. Then I can go ahead, and in this case, it's 4 plus 5 is 9, plus 3 is 12, which is just enough to take out the ship. I'll have to deal with this guy, but we can do that next turn. All right, now we can move on to turn 12. Getting resources. Now I bump up to 35 threat, which normally might be a concern. Not going to be, because I'm going to draw the top 3 cards in my deck. And lo and behold, a couple of prevention or threat reduction. I'll hold on to these. I will play them when it's actually time to quest. Also, let me pull all these back. And all right. So let me kind of figure out the strategy. First, with planning phase, probably not going to play anything at this point. Although, no, I can get another one of these into play. I think that's probably worthwhile. Yeah, we'll throw down another one of these. And now I can go ahead, still get the benefit to sailing. So, sure, I will use both of these guys, so I can draw 4 cards for sailing, make sure I stay on course. That is a fail. That is a fail. That is a fail. Whew. Okay, so just enough. 2 from these guys, 2 from the active quest. So I just managed to stay on course. All right, for questing, we will go 2 plus 6 is 8. And they both have to use Unexpected Courage. We're up to 8. Let's send this guy to get us to 10. We'll send Glorfindel to get us to 13. And I will spend one of these guys to get me up to 15. And I'll use another Silver Harp just so that I don't lose him. Okay, so actually we'll quest with this guy. 15 questing against another location in the staging area. Not too bad. Now, currently, I'm at 15 versus 12 in the staging area, which will be just enough to finish this off, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play both copies of these so that I can reduce my threat by 6 and give myself another +2 willpower. But before I resolve it and successfully quest, I am then going to play Will of the West, putting actually, and the resource I'm actually going to put over here, that is going to allow me to shuffle my deck, and then I can successfully quest and look at the top 5 cards. All right, here we go. Looking for an attachment. Okay, resourceful. Or a map. Actually, that would be really nice. That'll let me deal with this. So yeah, or not a map, an almanac. I'll take the almanac. We'll make sure to shuffle before I draw again. Now, I did manage to put 3 progress on here, an additional 2 on this quest, which is not quite enough. We're going to have to continue working on that. That's fine, and I will travel to this location so that it is no longer in the staging area. Right, I still have to lower my threat by up there, but so my threat is down 6. I can choose to optionally engage one thing. So do I want to handle another boat? Yeah, I actually left these guys out of it, so I guess I might as well do that. One thing I'm going to do is I am going to discard a card to ready him, use another harp so that I don't have to actually discard a card. Then I'll be in a position to, yeah, I think in this case I can handle the scouting ship. So let's slide this guy over here. Scouting ship going to bring 1 Corsair in with it. All right, that guy's not too bad. This guy's going to attack first, doing my usual trick where I will go ahead and use Narya to ready both him and him. Drawing a shadow effect is not something I really want to deal with. Now, Ominous Fate does say cannot be canceled, but that's the top card of it. You're only looking at the shadow effect. That doesn't have that rider, so I can go ahead, use a test of will, and not have to worry. Oh, not a test of will, sorry. Hasty Stroke, not have to worry about that shadow effect. And so no damage dealt. Then we go on to the ship, attacking 5 against 5. So I either have to add Thunderstruck to the staging area or deal 2 damage to the defending character. I mean, I am going to face Thunderstruck eventually, but I'm going to have to draw it when I travel to the next location. So that being the case, I am going to just take the 2 damage. So up to 8. So going to have to be careful. Then the attack is just 5 against 5, so no damage from that. Finally, one more attack incoming. And actually, right, it was this guy that attacked and this. And since this attack is only a 2 attack, I'm going to take it here. That is going to be +1, so 3 attack is going to deal 2 damage, but not too bad. I'll just go ahead right now and use Eorith to go ahead, actually in this case, healing more damage. I can go there, and now need to strike back. Ship's my biggest concern here, so we'll go 5, 8, 11, some massive overkill. So we take out that ship. Then I will go ahead once per phase. I can discard a card to ready him. So now I've got 6 attack. Unfortunately, I cannot take him out yet as he's got the added defense, but I can take this one out. And we're kind of back where we started, but staging area getting just a little bit cleaner. Yeah, everything's exhausted, so that's going to do it for this round. All right, everything's corrected threat-wise. -6 for the 2 copies of Elrond's Council I played, +1 for the refresh phase. So I am now up to 30 resources. Put 2 on each. Drawing 3 cards. And yeah, obviously I'm going to keep all of them. And that is good. An ally that I can certainly get into play. Being able to deal with events. Lots of good stuff as now get to go back through our deck. And planning, definitely going to put this here on the water spout again. So this attachment, the almanac, allows me that when I would put progress on the quest, I can put it on this location instead. So I just have to quest aggressively, which again, I'm certainly in a position to do here. So now I'm back to regular sailing tests as well. I do not plan to engage a ship this round. I want to engage this guy. So that is going to free me up to go ahead and use this for 2 on the sailing test, as well as, although I'm almost better off questing with it, but I think I'll be fine here. We'll go ahead with these 2 guys as we've been doing. So that's 4 on the sailing test. That should be plenty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drawing off the deck. Well, just 1 success, but good enough. Interesting, actually, I realized you can really game the system in terms of if you're going to be, like, I had that incident before where with the boarding, I didn't have to deal shadow cards to everybody. By kind of paying attention, you can just put more people in the sailing test. Makes me want to double check the sailing rules. Yeah, so you actually discard all the looked off cards. I have been doing that correctly. So you could kind of game the system a bit by how many people you send on the sailing test. All right, well, not my plan, but I'm just going to kind of do it the way I've been doing it. Now, for questing, I do want to make sure I get plenty done here. So we'll quest here for 3, and then another 3 is 6. Plus, of course, here is for another 6 is 12. Then I will also go ahead and send him up to 14. And I think I'll also quest with him to get me up to 16. Over here for 18, and I think that should be enough to make sure I can clear out these locations. Plus I can get up to 19, so let's find out as we have drawn another good location. Calm Waters back in play, and then again, that's the one that when I travel to, while it's the active location, I get to draw 2 extra cards on sailing tests. So very nice, and only 1 threat. So it is going to be quite a bit of progress. Yeah, there's 9 in the staging area. I quested for 18. So the first 3 are going to go on the active location. The next 6 will go here, but I can put 4 of those here. Let me just double check the wording here. Yeah, so just progress can be placed on it before, so not instead of. So I will be able to place 4 progress here, and then of course that will immediately clear out. And then 2 left is going to finish this one off. So with that, there is only 1 quest stage left. That is quest stage 3. But even before I do that, before I would actually resolve all that stuff, I do need to do this, where I'm going to get to look at 5 cards, see if I can find an attachment. Sure, Resourceful we will grab. And then I'm going to have to decide, yeah, I will keep around the guy I quested, discard a card, I'll just get it back. And now I can go ahead and actually place all the progress and check out my final stage. So here you can see the quest. Calphon says we are getting very close to the island, but the Corsairs are getting very close to us. The Corsair Pursuit. So the first thing I have to do on the A side, I have to search a deck or discard pile for the highest threat ship, which of course is Thunderstruck. And that's fine, because if we can take that out, I will be able to gain an extra XP. There's another Corsair ship in there that could give me an XP, but it's in the discard pile, so I think it's good with that. Also, since I had to search my deck or discard pile, I was kind of able to check through my deck. I'm in pretty good situation there, as 4 of the 6 cards in there are ship wheels, successes on sailing test. There's treacheries, a bunch of treacheries in there, all of which, you know, I'm sitting on 2 copies of a Test of Will. So good stuff. But all right, so now let's take a look at this new card, Thunderstruck. So we have Thunderstruck. It is an elite Corsair ship. All things considered, not too bad, since I'm only 1 player. It's only got 2 extra hit points. Can't deal more than 4 damage, which just means it's gonna take me 2 turns to kill it. But with a 46 threat, I'm not gonna have to engage it anytime soon. And honestly, Archery 1 is a lot easier to deal with than Archery 4. So that'll be hanging out in the staging area. No need to deal with that yet. Travel phase, obviously, I'm going to travel here, because why wouldn't I? And then I will engage this guy yet again. So she can slide over here. And now I'll just have to deal with these 2 enemies, which should not be a problem. All right, and this is not as straightforward as I was hoping it would be, because I actually have limited characters available here. But first attack is going to be coming from here. I do need to defend. And then, of course, I will use my usual trick of Narya to ready these 2 characters. And then I can go ahead and defend. Then I can go ahead. I've already defended. So now I'm up to my 4 defense. And Shadow Effect. No bearing. It's only if the attack destroys a character. So we're good there. Now, the situation here is I cannot afford to defend the attack again with him. I need him to be able to attack. All right, so now defending with Glorfindel on this attack. And this is just the excess damage one, so no bonus to attack. That means it's a 4 attack against the 2, so he will take 2 damage. I can then discard a card to ready Glorfindel. I will use the heart, so that I don't actually have to discard a card. Then he can attack for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 against this guy, which is enough to take him out. And then Crowley will go back to the staging area. which is good because next time he attacks, he'll have 3 tokens. He'll be harder to kill, but I will then be able to take him out and put him in my victory display. Last but not least, let me go ahead, spend a lore resource, and let's heal up Glorfindel, just in case. And now I can ready everyone. Turn 14, up to 31 threat. I am getting close. A couple more resources here, a couple more here. Drawing 3 cards. Hey, there's Strider again. And again, doesn't really matter, but gives me fodder to discard, so I'll use the Harp. I'll lead off with Strider over here, just so that I can, once again, still just have the 2 heroes. That'll cost me 1. I'll produce an extra 1 over here, saving up for that 5 I'm going to need to get Folco Boffin back into play. That way, I don't have to change any rules for the campaign. I'll have him ready to go next time. He's kind of like Gendry. He's been sailing pretty much on a rowboat the entire season. Okay, so having done that, what else do I want to do here? I think it would definitely be useful to have more allies into play. So let's bring this guy out. I don't want to bring Imrahil, because again, that would just offset my ability of Strider. So that's 3 resources. We'll pay... Well, I'll be able to get my resources back up. I'll pay with it from here. I have to discard 2 cards, so in this case, we'll just use the Harp a couple more times. One thing, I did forget to do the archery last time, so I would have just thrown an extra damage there. And yeah, let's just deal with that right now. Even before we go anywhere, I'll go ahead and heal all that off. Now, for the sailing test, again, I know I'm in good shape here. I'm just going to need 1 character to do that. So he will do the sailing test, looking at 3 cards. So yeah, this is going to work out perfectly. Yes, so I got success. I stay on course as long as this doesn't have Surge, which I'm pretty sure it doesn't. You don't reshuffle the encounter deck until you need to draw an encounter deck or you need to do a sailing test. So in this case, there will be no shadow cards. For questing, I don't want to clear this location. I am with this stage. My goal is not to quest 10 on here. I don't want to outrun the ships. I want to take them down. So obviously the best way to do that is to not put progress, eliminate, try and keep this in play to make my sailing tests easy. So yeah, I'm going to quest for 3, 5, plus 6 is 11. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So 11 questing versus 9 in the staging area, and I already had a chance to look at all these, so when I was searching the deck for Thunderstruck, and so I know that it is just going to be this location that is going to add 2 to the staging area. So I do want to quest successfully, though, so I will go ahead and play this to reduce my threat by 3. That'll let me put 1 progress on the active quest, and then I can look at the top 5 cards of my deck. Yep, we'll get another copy of that. And then I can go ahead and move on to the encounter phase. Now, I would love nothing more than to go big here, engage both the ship and Crowley, but I can only optionally engage one of them. So I will engage the ship, which will bring 2 raiders into play. They'll each get an extra token, and I will be ready to deal with them. With the Marauder coming into play, obviously I need to discard a card at random from my hand. Fortunately, I have 10 cards in hand. The 0 is a 10. So that's 3. That is the 1 card I did not want to discard. And I really should have held on to my Harp. I could have gotten that back. I did not. So that was not smart thinking on my part. But I've still got a lot of stuff going on here. I should still be able to do a lot of damage. Okay, the one other thing I meant to do before the combat phase, just backtracking since I can use his ability once per phase, would be just to discard a card earlier to go ahead and ready him. So that now I can use that ability again during the combat phase. Now, first attack coming in is from the captain. He will defend, and I'll go ahead. I'll use Narya and Unexpected Courage, so he's still ready to give him the +1. No shadow effect, so just 1 damage, and of course he is ready. I can then I guess I need to go over to the ship attack, which is a 6 attack. This one will defend, so just going to be 1 damage up to 9, but we're holding on there. Should be okay. Then this guy's going to attack, and before he attacks, he's going to deal 2 damage. So we will just, as we are often want to do, throw that damage over here. Although, why do I keep throwing on a hero? Well, I keep throwing on a hero because I can get it. He's got 4 hit points, so I can get him up to 3 and then heal him down. So we'll do that. And then this attack will just be a 3 attack, so I can have this guy defend and not have to worry about taking any damage. Okay. So now having done that, these two, actually this guy would also been readied from that. So he's got the +1 to attack. He's got the +1 to attack. Now, let's see how much I can kill. First things first, I need to kill the captain before I can attack the ship. So Glorfindel for 4. These two guys using Unexpected Courage here, and he will exhaust. So they add 2, 2, and 4. So that's a total of 8. That'll take out the captain. Now I can go ahead, discard a card to ready Glorfindel, so he can get a 2nd attack this phase. And I will have him go ahead and attack here for 4. Obviously, the ship will attack as well. That's 9. He'll add 3 more. 12 damage. Takes out the ship. Now, unfortunately, I cannot ready him again. I just have 2, 3, 4, 5 left, so we'll throw some damage on him. Oh, but wait! I do have one more guy over here who can do the 6 damage, so that will also take out that raider. We are getting close. Hope I don't draw any more ships. As long as I don't, I should be able to finish this all off in just a couple turns. Turn 15. More resources, more cards. Really got the engine going. This is kind of, this is the optimal way I envision it. Hey, Lords of the Eldor, I am going to make, again, I do have to discard one of these cards. It will be Lords of the Eldar, and I will not have to worry about using up one of my harps yet. I've got my attack card again, so that's good. I will not make the mistake of using up all of those, as I'm going to have to reshuffle the Corsair deck. That's just a discard pile. Also have to reshuffle the encounter deck. And an extra copy of here is going to be really good because I can use these to clear this out of the staging area, potentially. Yeah, canceling the first on a sailing test. So I may have to commit a little bit more to the sailing test this time. I think I would like to see if I can get my hands on a hasty stroke. So I'm going to go ahead and play this card. I'll just get the resource right back to look at the top 5 cards. I will get to keep 1. Well, that is interesting. A couple copies of Light of Valinor, which is good fodder. Also, another interesting thing, yeah, I realized I don't have to play both of these cards. I could discard one to one of these various effects, and then I would be able to have the other one be more effective, take that location out. Yeah, so honestly, I think the thing that makes my life the easiest is just another one of these, being able to do a ton of damage. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is there is an action window within the sailing test before I draw cards, so I'm going to commit 1, 2, 3, 4. I will then discard one of these to ready Glorfindel, which will then allow me to play one of these to clear this location so that I do not have to worry about it. And so now I will get to draw 4 cards, and I only need 1 success instead of 2. So there is my 1 success, and it is a good thing I did that because I would have fallen short thanks to that location. That's also going to make questing easier. There's less stuff in the staging area. Okay, so that part done. Now I can go ahead and figure out who I'm going to send. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to send 8. So 6, 7, 8. if it's a treachery, I may actually lose this location. That's okay. So sending 8 against the 5 in the staging area, and I will draw. All right, well, that's not a great location because it's got 4 threat, so there's now 9 in the staging area versus the 8 I quested, so I will have to raise my threat 1. I've quested unsuccessfully, so I do not get to draw a card, but good enough. Now we can go on to the encounter phase, where I will, at this point, yep, I'm just going to engage the ship, which does have boarding of 2. So we will bring 2 guys into play. It is going to be these 2 guys. Yeah, that's not bad at all. That guy, the Vicious Marauder, is just going to make me discard a card at random. Hopefully not one of the big ones, but again, I can take the damage. I have plenty of characters to put it on. And then I'll just get the card back. And then the captain, who will just have to deal with him. So got these 3 in play. Let's find out which card he's targeting. I now have 7 cards in my hand. So 0 is going to be a reroll. An 8 is going to be a reroll. And a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, okay. So yeah, he's going to get 5 tokens, which means when he attacks, he's going to dole out 5 damage. I definitely want to hold on to that, so I'll go ahead and use my harp. Now, I am going to have to deal with shadow cards. I'll draw those. You know, normally you'd place them out ahead, but space is so tight, I'll just draw them off the deck, but I'll make sure I go in order. He'll attack first. We will defend with the ship. So that is a 6 attack against 5, and no shadow effect. So that's good. Just 1 damage. This guy's up to 10. Hopefully just has to take the 1 more ship attack. Next up will be the captain. Yeah, I can always do an emergency heal if need be. But this guy also, yeah, why wouldn't I defend with him? So I'll do that. So we'll go ahead, and that is going to be a 5 attack versus currently 3 defense. Before I go ahead and ready him, might as well see what I draw. This one is going to be a shadow effect. But again, it's only the one that if it's dealing damage to a ship. So effectively, no effect. All right, since I've got a lot of damage coming out, I think I will go ahead and use Cirdan now with Narya to ready this guy, So he's got a defense of 4 against the 5 attack, so he will take damage. And then he's, with his 4 defense, is in a good position to deal with this attack. Although, before I have to deal with that, I do have to dole out 5 damage among my characters. And we will go 1, 1, 2, just in case I have to take an undefended attack. Need to put 2 more out. We'll put that on Glorfindel. And I didn't do this perfectly optimally, as I could have gotten an extra attack out of Glorfindel, but if I had done things a little bit differently, but I think it's going to be fine. I'm going to go ahead, spend a resource. I will play Fair and Perilous. Glorfindel, who can attack twice at 6. So I do need to deal with the captain first. So there is 6, and we'll throw him in. 7, 8. That'll take out the captain, freeing me up to then go after the ship, which I can only deal 4 damage to. So in that case, I will discard a card using a harp to get it back to ready Glorfindel. First time I've used that during the combat phase. And then he will attack for 6. Boy, it really is overkill. Actually, let's not attack with Glorfindel. I've got 5 attack here against the 5 armor, so I just need to throw in 4 more. So that'll be these 2 guys. So that's going to let me put 4 damage on that ship. And last but not least, Glorfindel, all by his lonesome, can deal the 6 damage necessary to take this guy out. All right. We're almost there. A last thing to do this turn is do some healing. I do want to make sure that I have the resources to play this next turn, which I will. So yeah, we'll go ahead, take 3 off there, and move on to what I hope will be the final turn. Here we go. Last hurrah. A couple more resources here. A couple resources here. Drawing 3 cards, of which, in this case, I will keep all 3. And then we can go ahead and... yeah, cannot afford to play anything lore-related. That is discard fodder. Because I do want to get up to the 5 resources. Sailing test, no reason to mess around. We'll do 1 there. I still got the bonus. 2, 3. We'll send him for 4. And let's send in... sure, we'll send in Glorfindel as well. So 5 people... actually, no, we'll send in this guy. So 5 people committed to the sailing test. Just need 1 success. So let's make sure we can get that. Yeah, plenty. Got 3. I actually got it on the first card. So that would have been fine. And now for questing. Again, probably overkill, but 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And a card I draw here. It's going to be a treachery, which I was going to say is an auto-cancel, but I cannot cancel it, and it's got Surge. Fortunately, Ominous Fate, not very bad here. I just have to choose one of these options. I'll raise my threat by 1. Because I am on campaign level 1, and I am not going to put it in the victory display. Let's keep that card around. I don't want to lose XP for taking it out of the mix. It does have Surge, so let's draw another card, which is... it's going to be another Raider, which means I am not going to be able to end the game this turn. C'est la vie. All right, 15 quest versus 10 in the staging area is going to be 3 on here and 2 on the quest. So that's taken care of. I am not going to travel. I could, but yeah, I'm fine. We can leave that in the staging area. I will deal with that later. Optionally engage this guy who will get another token. And again, before I get to the next phase, I will go ahead and ready him. So now I am ready for the combat phase. Thunderstruck will go first with a 6 attack against him. And that is going to be no shadow effect, so just 1 more damage. Up to 11. Hang in there. We are so close. And now this attack, which he'll take, it's going to be a big attack, actually. Maybe I want to chump block this, although there are those overflow shadow effect cards that I'm not thrilled about. Actually, before I do that, at this point, I think I am in a position to be on the safe side, since I'm going to have to play it out another turn. I'm going to go ahead and play this for 1 resource, which is going to let me look at the top 5 cards of my deck and grab one. And what do I want? More card drawing, sure. Don't really need any of the rest, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 3 leadership resources, which I have from Narya, and I'm going to search my deck to get a hasty stroke, just so I've got that little bit of extra protection in play. And also, odd card, so I get another resource back on him. Now, where were we? We were going to deal with this attack, which is... it is a 5 attack, so, and I can cancel the shadow effect. So yeah, I will go ahead, I will defend here, and let's see what it's going to be. No effect. It would do 2 damage, but I'll go ahead and use Cirdan to ready these 2 guys, so he'll then end up only taking 1 damage. Him being my main defender now, I'll go ahead and use her just to clear that off. Now, let's finish this guy off. He's got the 5 armor, so I just need to attack for 9, so that's 5. Again, both of these guys can attack to take this out. Actually, I didn't even need to do that much. I only need to do 2 damage. I only need to attack him for 7, so I've taken out Thunderstruck, and then should not be too difficult to take this guy out. Yeah, I just need to do 7. So he's got 5 armor and 2 health, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. More than enough. We have defeated Crowley, who is going to go to the victory display as well. And one more turn. All right, I'm actually at 33 threat. We'll grab the resources, 1 and 1, 1 and 1, and cards off the deck. Lots of good stuff. Another copy of Strider. I don't need any of this at this point, but good fodder to have in case I have to discard cards from my hand. So we'll go ahead and use one of those to hang on to everything. Sure, just because I can, I will put Light of the Valinor in play over here. And do I want to get... Nope, at this point... Well, for that one, I am going to gain a resource. So we'll give him one more. And I want to be able to play events. So I'm not going to do anything else. I do have to, at this point... this is a very important sailing test, as... when I kill the ship, I do also need to make sure that I'm on course. So it's going to be these two guys, as per usual. 1, 2, also Glorfindel, who we can easily get back. And we'll go ahead and do him as well. So that's 4, and I don't want to mess around. I will also use Unexpected Courage here. So that is 5 people committing to the quest. 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I could go crazy and do that shadow effect thing, but I want to make sure I have everybody available to me. Yeah, I got 3 successes. So we stay on course, and now I can go ahead and send my questing crew. So there's 8 in the staging area. I'm going to use this opportunity to go ahead and get rid of some cards that are expensive, that I don't want in my hand. So I'll be discarding these 2 to keep these 2 guys in play. I will also discard this guy to ready Glorfindel. So then I can go ahead and quest for 2, 4, 8, 9, 10... Yeah, I can get, even if I can't get him back for any quest phase, I'm not sure if sailing is separate. I will have other phases before combat. So 2, 4, 7, 13, 14, 15. That's enough. Here we go. It is a treachery that I can cancel. This one, each player has to reveal a top card of the Corsair deck. Thank you, no. I will test of will that. And then my last act before I get to the... now I'll go... Well, even before I get to the engagement phase, I'm going to get one more expensive card out of my hand. I'm going to play the Houses of Healing. Welcome back. We found you. He was out adrift at sea for quite a while, but we never had any doubt. A little bit of mouth-to-mouth. As we'll put him over with Eorith, as he is in her tender care down over here. And now, at that point, I am ready to go ahead, go to the engagement phase, where I will discard a card to ready Glorfindel. It can be that. And now I will go ahead, again, not going to travel, but I will engage this guy. And who are we getting off the Corsair deck? Let's see. 2 guys coming out. All right, I have to lose 2 attachments. No problem. It'll be Light of Valinor and Strider, which no longer does anything for me now that I have 3 heroes in play once again. These guys will both get 2 resources because of this card gives them 1 extra. And now we just need to deal with the attacks. Oh, also I successfully quested for 5. So that's fine, 5 progress. But the important thing is that I didn't get up to 10. So now going in order, first attack will be here against the Dawn Chaser. And that is going to be... all right, well, that is not a good one. If I do damage to a ship, it's going to throw me off course, which is going to cost me a victory point. So there we go. Hasty stroke. I'll cancel that shadow effect. I am going to have to take 1 damage here, as it's a 6 versus a 5. Hopefully nothing too bad with the other attacks coming in. We will find out. This guy will attack next. He'll defend. And that is going to be very annoying. either shift your heading off course or take the attack undefended. If I take the attack undefended, I am losing a hero because it's 4 damage. So I will shift my defending. It's kind of pointless, but so we are shifted off. We'll just know that we are off course, which means I do not want to end it this turn. I'm going to have to kind of slow play it. Meanwhile, it's a 4 attack against the 1. So yeah, I'll just take the damage at this point. Now the next attack, I will defend with Galdor, and that is going to be excess damage is dealt to a ship. Not an issue right now. I assume that excess damage means if it kills the character. That language, I'm not really sure the language on that, but again, I could prevent any XX damage, which I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and use him to ready Glorfindel. So he's now got 4 defense. I will also ready him. And time to fight back. I'll go ahead, spend my last resource to bump up Glorfindel. So he's going to be able to attack for 6. So he will do a 6. We'll throw him into the mix to do an 8 attack against here. That'll take him out. I will then discard a card, but not really, as I will use that. And that will allow me to ready Glorfindel, so I can attack again. That's another 6. Plus 2 is 8. Take that guy out. And then last but not least, this guy, I just need to hit for 11. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, I have another hero over here. 10, 11. All right, so against the armor, that is going to be 6 damage to this. So not quite dead yet, almost there. Last but not least, I'll go ahead and I will heal him so I can get an extra token over here. Okay, now, one more turn. Here we go. Resources. Drawing a card. And in this case, not really facing down anything. You know what? I'm almost better off not having cards in my hand. So I'll let one go that I can't play. And reason being, if I go down to no cards in hand, I still haven't used his ability to draw 6 more, although I don't have a lot of cards left in my deck. Now, sailing test. I'm off course. So I need 2 successes. I know from looking in the discard pile, there's only 1 left in the deck. So I am going to need to reshuffle, go back up, and certainly this is one I cannot fail. And by cannot, I mean it would be bad. So I don't want to. So 1, 2, I still need... Actually, this guy could defend against the attack. He's got plenty of health yet. Yeah, so 2 from there. Although, what if I have to face another ship? It's fine. I'm not engaging. I'm not going to fight 2 ships at once. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we will throw in 1 more for good measure over here. Actually, we can always send Glorfindel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the sailing test. I know that the first 2... I just get 1 success, and then I would have to shuffle the deck and draw the rest off the top. All right, correction. I actually, if there's not enough cards on the deck, you actually reshuffle the deck first before drawing. That being the case, I've spent 6. You know what? Let's send just a little bit more. 7 cards. I do not want to mess this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, just need 2 successes. There's 1, 2. Well, I only got 2. Good enough. That puts me back on course. So now I can go ahead and ready him, discarding a card. And now I can go questing and delicate balance here. And I don't mind my threat going up. I need to make sure I do not put more than 2 progress here. So with a 4 in the staging area, probably the best thing to do is just to quest for 6. So what I'll do in that case is We'll send him for 6, and he'll go by himself. There's a 4, and the card is a treachery. Just a bad effect if I'm off course, which I'm not, so no effect. I put 2 progress on here. Sometimes in this game, it really gets down to the minutia, and you have to be super careful and cautious. But nevertheless, it'll all be worth it in the end, as now I have dealt with that. I can go to the encounter phase. I am going to have to deal with this attack. So he is going to defend, and here we go. Let's see. I really hope this shadow card does not throw me off course. That would be very annoying. No, just a bad effect if my heading is at the worst setting, which it's not. So it's a 6 attack against the 3 armor, which is going to be 3 more damage, putting him up to 8 damage, and just kill this ship. I only need to do 1 more damage, but I got it. That's it. That, for good measure, I could play this to reduce my threat by 3, and I have won the scenario. I guess for the record, I could spend a resource to look at the top 5 cards in my deck, and oh look, there's more threat reduction. So yeah, we'll go ahead and play that too. So dropping myself down another 3 to 28, and now I'm really done. If you care about score or such thing, I did accumulate a bunch of victory points. 16 to be exact, but since I'm not keeping score from that standpoint, that is much less important than looking at the campaign XP. So here we go. Need my reading glasses for this one. All right, 1 XP for each surviving player. Check. 1 XP if 4 stage 2B quest cards are in the victory display. Check. Are those worth victory points? I guess I have even more victory points. 1 XP if you ended the game on course. Check. 1 XP if no ship enemies are in play. Check. So that's 4. 1 XP for each Corsair warship in the victory display. I shorted myself there. I got 1. There are 2 in the deck, but that's fine. That's up to 5. Crowley is in the victory display. That's 6. Thunderstruck is there. That's 8. -1 if Ominous Fate is, which it's not. So I get 8 XP, which I can spend to upgrade stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to do that at the beginning of the next video. I'll kind of have some time to look over, make my choices. At this point, I think my deck was at 52 cards I ran in this scenario. So the deck list you're going to see that I put in the list will reflect me having pared it down probably to 50 cards. Maybe I'll still keep it. Honestly, I'm actually thinking with this deck, it's not bad for it to be a little bigger. I might actually want to add a couple of cards, which is unusual, but of course, if I put in just 1 extra copy of Will of the West, then I've got no problems being able to cycle through my deck. I think there is errata on Will of the West that it's removed from the game after you play it, but you can saw here, like this was a marathon game, 18 turns, and I almost got entirely through my deck again. But it worked. This was kind of the design I was looking for, and quite a bit of fun. That was a long one, although if you watch my Gloomhaven videos, I am no stranger to long videos. Just a lot going on in this scenario. You can see, I think I talked about in one of the other videos that I don't use the rule for carrying over damage on heroes. Because, look, if you're playing lore, then you're going to include at least 1 healing card, and if you can rig things like I did, you're not going to have to worry about having any damage. You can just slow play. I could have ended this game 6, 7, 8 turns earlier, and if I were playing non-campaign, just regular solo, I would have. But here, I wanted to, I want to experience everything. I want to get all the XP. I want to check out all those nice upgrades, and we will do that in the next video. If you made it this far, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to know when my next video is coming out. If you enjoyed it, let other people know about it. I'm trying to get my subscriber count up. I guess there's stuff you can do on mobile to hype me. That'd be great if you wanted to do that. But Really appreciate your comments. If you have any thoughts, if I got anything wrong, by all means, let me know. Educational for me, for other people watching the video as well, even if it's years after I posted this. But otherwise, as always, until next time, and thanks for watching.